Topic number 2 comes from the world of Twitter. I enjoy Twitter as a bit of a release. So I treat my YouTube channels in one way, and I treat them very seriously, and I try and be very precise about what I say, even though this live thing is a little bit more off the cuff. But Twitter, I kind of go there and I like to have fun and be cathartic for myself and let loose thoughts. And most of my Twitter is generally without context. You have no idea what I'm talking about, and frankly, what most people are talking about. If I throw out a comment about being my emotions or about a verse or whatever, you don't know what the context was that led me to say that thing, and nor do I want you to have it. I think that's part of the fun. So recently, I tweeted this: Christian divine hiddenness isn't passive, it's active. And then I quoted Matthew 11:25. I praise you, Father, Lord of heaven and earth, because you've hidden these things from the wise and the learned. If you're unfamiliar with the concept of divine hiddenness, it's one of the arguments that's often presented against the existence of a God. How can there be a God if there are non resistant non believers who would like to believe but just haven't been given enough evidence? I'm not sure the general case stands, but for me, it is actually one of personally the strongest reasons why I'm not a believer is that God hasn't shown himself to me. And because I personally can know my own heart and thoughts and motives, I can know that only I can know that I'm not um, suspending the belief, in unrighteousness, right? But for myself, I can judge that thing, and I can consider it to be an argument against divine hiddenness. I came across this verse studying some other passage. I thought it was funny. I thought it was interesting. And it says, Jesus is thanking the Father for hiding things from the wise and the learned. I expected some pushback from Christians, as most of my tweets get pushback from Christians, whether it's about Christianity or not. So here's one such response from Capturing Christianity. Curious how Paul omitted part of the verse. At that time, Jesus declared. So you'll notice I didn't put the at that time Jesus declared. I thank you, Father, Lord of heaven and earth, that you have hidden these things from the wise and the understanding and revealed them to little children. Matthew 11:25. Interesting that his problem is not with divine hiddenness, but with the fact that I quoted part of a verse and not a whole verse. Similarly, we have this same kind of objection from someone named Francisco. And he's objecting to the fact that I left off these 5 words and revealed them to infants. There, I finished the verse for you. Since we're lying for Darwin, let me also complete the title of his book. And he goes on to talk about the title of Darwin's book. Similar objection from someone named Ebenezer. Might as well complete the entire sentence, they object. And finally, Luke Barnes. He wanted to parody the fact that I had left off 5 words at the end of the verse by leaving off a few words from my tweet. Christian divine hiddenness isn't. So the universal objection, there were many more responses in this if you feel like going and following the thread, and we'll talk a little bit more about where the thread went. You can go check that out for yourself, but the Christians were not upset that I was talking about how the fact that God hides things from wise people. They were objecting to the fact that there was 5 words at the end of the verse that I didn't use. And they objected to me not using context. So let's look at the context of that passage and see what happens. So I left off this initial part. At that time, Jesus said, I didn't feel like that was important. We're talking about tweet lengths. I'm trying to be short. I'm trying to be brief. Twitter is a place to be pithy, not to be verbose. I praise you, Father, Lord of heaven and earth, because you've hidden these things from the wise and the learned. And then I left off these 6 words in the NIV and revealed them to little children. Does that change anything? Basically, what I was complaining that God's hiding things, but if I left that in, we're showing that not only is God playing favoritism, anti-favoritism by hiding things to some people, he's showing favoritism by giving extra information to other people. And then we can continue on to the next verse. Yes, Father, for this is what you were pleased to do. So not only is God showing some favoritism and knowledge here, favoring some uh, over others, he's excited about this. This is a pleasure for God. Ha ha ha. The wise and the learned don't get to know, but the children do. That's my pleasure. I don't see how that context helps. Further context. Verse 27. All things have been committed to me by my Father. No one knows the Son except the Father, and no one knows the Father except the Son, and those to whom the Son chooses to reveal him. The Son isn't revealing him to everyone. The Son is choosing some people to reveal him and other people not to. So let's say this God and this Jesus exist in the form that is described in the Gospels, in Matthew chapter 11 here. We're talking about a God that, to me, has hidden things, has not revealed himself to the same extent to other people. So what am I to do? I can't choose my beliefs until God so chooses to give me enough information to actually even make a choice. I'm screwed. This isn't on me. This is why I actually tell my Christian friends and family, it's like, this isn't on me anymore. You need to pray and ask God to choose me to be one of those lucky people he reveals himself enough to that they can believe. So I'd love to see in the comments. I'd love to see in the chat, so we can talk about it at the end. Was I in line? Was I out of line? Did I left off 5 or 6 verses at the end, 5 or 6 words at the end of the verse in my tweet? Was that offside? Was that bad? Do we know? I think we all know in general, right, that these verse divisions are rather arbitrary. Sometimes it's in the middle of a sentence, sometimes it's the end of a sentence, sometimes it's a whole paragraph, sometimes it's 2 words. These verse, as far as I'm concerned, the verse numbers don't really mean anything. And so in the terms of a tweet, where you stop and start, I don't know that it matters. But maybe I'm wrong. Let me know. Cycling back with the Luke Barnes thing, if you want to go watch a dumpster fire on Twitter from earlier today, go follow this thread where Luke Barnes interacts with Shannon. And one of the things that happens, let me see if I can find it here. Ooh, there's Jim sliding back. I don't think I can find it right on the screen. One of the things that happens is, and go check it out for yourself, Luke Barnes actually ends up admitting that Jesus is superfluous to Christianity. That really, God can save people without Jesus. So that's an odd admission from an apologist. Check that out.